Okay, had to restart the stream, but it's all good. There we go, go live. Feel free to say hi. All right. There we go, back live on Instagram. Oh, that might mess up my recording, but yeah, continuing this. Okay. All right, back to cause and effect.
I was tired, cause, I took a nap, effect. Like, it's not always gonna go cause to effect. You could just as easily write that sentence in the opposite order. Right? I took a nap, effect, because I was tired, which is the cause. The nap doesn't cause me to be tired. I was tired, which is why I napped. You can't just figure this out by looking at the sentence and the order the words come in. You have to think critically about what you're reading and consider how the actions connect to each other. How does it happen? Why does it happen? So let's take this opportunity to apply this to a text example. So I'm going to read this passage, and then I'll try to answer a couple of questions about it. So I'll make a couple of little notes and annotations as we scribble our way through. 14-year-old Michaela DePrince sat on the shiny hallway floor and tightened the ribbons on her ballet shoes. Okay, so she's a ballerina. It was 2010, and she was about to dance for the chance of a lifetime. That sounds important. An opportunity to earn a scholarship to a famous ballet school. All right, so that's our chance of the lifetime. She was in the finals of the world's largest ballet competition for young dancers, Youth America Grand Prix. But Michaela was worried. She was nursing an injury. Michaela understood that dancing on her injury could snap a tendon that could put an end to all of her hopes and dreams. A tendon is similar to a muscle. It helps you move parts of your body. Michaela was devoted to ballet. She had spent thousands of hours practicing. She had worked incredibly hard and had overcome many challenges to make it to this point. So when they called her on stage, she danced. And here we have so, which is one of the words that we're looking for that signals that there's a cause-effect relationship. So question number one, why was Michaela worried? Michaela was worried. We can even do this by filling out a little form, right? Have our little underline, the cause goes here, the effect goes here. So what is the cause of that worry? So in the effect box, I'm gonna say worry, that's the effect. But why is Michaela worried? Well, she was nursing an injury. And not just that she was injured, but if she pushed that injury too far and snapped a tendon, it could put an end to all of her hopes and dreams. That is extremely serious. So that injury represents a lot more than just temporary pain. It represents a possible end to her hopes and dreams. So what that injury could be, its potential outcomes, its potential effects, are what are causing her to worry. Another question is, why did she dance despite her injury? So I'm going to say that the effect is that Michaela danced. And we can see a couple of explanations in the text, right? First of all, they called her on stage, so she was asked to do it, and she danced. But why did she dance even though she was injured? Part of it is that she'd already overcome many challenges. She'd spent thousands of hours practicing, she'd worked incredibly hard, and also, here was this opportunity of a lifetime. So even though she was hurt, she still danced. And she did it because she was so devoted to ballet that she wanted to get that scholarship to the ballet school. So I'm going to say that the cause, the reason that Michaela danced, even though she was injured, is because the opportunity was so great. So the opportunity, the chance to earn a scholarship to the ballet school, that's the cause, and the effect of that is that Michaela chose to dance even though she was injured. And finally, what happened when they called her on stage? What did Michaela do? Well, it's right there at the very end of the paragraph. When they called her on stage,
she danced.
What makes this passage challenging is there's not a lot of clue words that tell you explicitly, hey, this is a cause and effect relationship. We've only really got this so. There aren't other becauses or therefores or consequentlies. So we really have to put it together on our own to figure out how all these different events are related to each other. And that kind of brings us back to our old friend Rube Goldberg. Because if we're thinking about cause and effect, we should be thinking about all of the downstream effects too. Because it's possible to say, lifting the spoon causes the napkin to wipe your face, even though there are all these other stages in between. But a text won't necessarily spell it out as plainly as this very silly cartoon. But I do hope that because you have watched this video, you will therefore better be able to understand a cause and effect relationship in writing. You can learn anything. David out.
Cool. Exercise time. Ready to practice? Yes, I am. Okay. Holmes, reading informational text under one roof. Read the article, then answer the practice question. Under one roof. Oh, it's India. This guy is crying. Why are you crying, little guy? All over the world, homes are filled with families, and a group of people who live together and love each other is a family. Every family is different. Sometimes families are small, made up of just a few people. Sometimes families can be large, with lots of kids and adults living together in one place. In many places, it is common for an extended family to live together. This is a family structure where made up of many parts. When an extended family shares a home, it means the grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins could all live under one roof. Dang, I can't read today. The way that you live with your extended family might depend on your culture. For example, in India, it is common for families to live in very practical and generous ways. The extended family has at least one common space, like the kitchen, where everyone shares the work of caring for the family. However, each family usually has their own room too. This allows them to share chores and enjoy together time, while still having some privacy. Living as an extended family is less common in the United States, but it's getting more popular. When Barack Obama became president, he moved into the White House with his wife, Michelle, and their daughters, Sasha and Malia. Michelle Obama's mother, Marion Robinson, lived with them too. Mrs. Robinson moved in with her first family to help take care of her grandchildren. Sometimes, grandparents will move in to help out. Other times, a family member might move in because they need someone to help them. And sometimes, extended families live together just because it's so fun. It's fun to have so many people around. Whatever the reason, helping and loving each other is what being in a family is all about. No matter how big or small, the people in your home are your family. That's sweet. Practice question. What details could be left out of a summary of the passage? Mrs. Robinson moved in with the first family to help take care of her grandchildren. Living as an extended family is less common in the United States, but it's getting more popular. Every family is different. In many places, it is common for an extended family to live together. I'm thinking this, what's more detailed? This is still general. I think we could get that one. Yes, and that's right. All right, next question. Read this section of the text. When Barack Obama became president, he moved into the White House with his wife, Michelle, and their daughters, Sasha and Malia. Michelle Obama's mother, Marion Robinson, lived with them too. Mrs. Robinson moved in with the first family to help take care of her grandchildren. How are these sentences connected? They show contrasting things, they compare two things, they show cause and effect, they give facts to support an opinion. Okay, contrasting differences. Cause and effect. Ah, shit. Damn. Oh, first one wrong today. How are these sentences connected? They show contrasting things. Cause and effect. There we go. Alright, let's take out my bonus question today. Alright, here we go. It wasn't that because these sentences do not include an opinion. Oh, okay. Next question, read the sentence. For example, in India, it is common for families to live in very practical and generous ways. Which of these words means something similar to practical as it is used in the sentence? Easy. Helpful. There we go. Helpful because the passage says these families share work, which shows that they are helpful. Based on the text, what is an effect of living in a shared home? Families put money together to buy things. Families stay with each other and move out until they. Families stay with each other until they are old enough to move out. Families work together to care for the home and for each other. Families work together to build their own rooms inside the home. An effect of living in a shared home. That's an effect. Okay, bonus question. Thank God. Practice question. Which sentence best summarizes the passage? Families might be different sizes, but they all have the same reason for living together. Families usually choose to live on their own if they're able. Families can be different sizes and might live together for lots of different reasons. Families are made up of parents and children who live together. Cool. Thank goodness. All right. Inferences? Didn't I read this? Inferences. No, I was about something else. Yeah, it was about something else. Okay. In this video, in the video, Sherlock Bones, legendary dog detective, teaches David about making inferences. Inferences are more than just guesses. They are what we figure out by combining clues from the text with our own knowledge. Remember, inferences are possible conclusions, but not the only ones.
Hello, readers. I'm here in the legendary study of the famous fictional dog detective Sherlock Bones of 221B Barker Street. Mr. Bones, you're here to teach me about using details from a text to make inferences, aren't you?
Yes, my boy. It's simplicity itself. But first, let me deduce a few things about you, shall I?
Well, Mr. Bones, we're trying to do this about writing, not about people, so...
Give me your hand.
Ah!
You like to cook, you have a nervous disposition, and you work for Khan Academy.
Now, how did you know that?
You have a callus on your finger from how you hold a knife. Your fingernails are bitten, not clipped. And your messenger bag says Khan Academy.
Well, and I told you who I was before I showed up.
That too.
But what does this have to do with reading a book?
I correctly deduced several truths about your person based on clues, my good David. Indeed, all inference is making sense of clues. When you read a story, you are constantly making inferences.
I see. Okay, I'll read a passage and then see what I can make of it. An hour later, thick smoke poured up the stairs. The smoke detector screamed, and I could hear Uncle Paleo stumbling around with the fire extinguisher. When he came upstairs afterward, his footsteps sounded slow and heavy. He was a wreck. Broken glasses, black smudges on his face, and singed hair. Okay, so I can surmise that there was some kind of fire or explosion downstairs where the character Uncle Paleo was.
How do you know?
Well, his hair was singed, that's another word for burned, and his face was covered in black smudges, like you'd get from soot from a fire. And there was all the smoke, and the smoke detector went off.
And there is also the matter of the fire extinguisher.
Also that.
I see something else in that passage too.
What's that, Mr. Bones?
Uncle Paleo was exhausted by putting out the fire.
How can you tell? Where does it say that?
Well, it doesn't. That's inference, my lad. Note here how it says, his footsteps sounded slow and heavy. Why might that be?
He stepped in something sticky. No, he's wearing shoes made of lead.
Well, those are indeed possible explanations, but you want to think of the most likely option.
He was running around to put the fire out, and it made him tired.
So, you were reading between the lines, were you? Drawing conclusions from the text?
I was. So we know for sure Uncle Paleo was tired, right?
We do not, sir.
Oh!
An inference is only one possible conclusion, but is not the only conclusion.
So what are we to do?
Well, the more clues you discover, the stronger your inferences will become. You have to look at what you already know about a character, about the setting of the story, the events of a story's plot, and piece it together from there. You know that fires create lots of black dust or soot, so it strengthens your argument in favor of a fire. And it's background knowledge like that about the way the world works that will serve you as a reader and as a maker of inferences. Apply what you know to the world of the story and make inferences based on that.
And then I can become the world's greatest consulting detective?
You can become like the world's 50th greatest consulting detective. Top of the heap's rather full, I'm afraid.
Well, thank you for your time today, Mr. Bones. Best of luck with your casework.
Thank you. I shan't need it.
You can learn anything. David out.
Theme. I got 3. Hold on, let me see how far I got into this. Okay, this is the last one. I think I'm going to switch topics. This has been a great stream. But I think I want to look at one of my AP courses, actually. I got 3 more videos to watch. A story's theme is the message woven throughout it, often the important topics such as human nature, life, or society. It is deeper than the plot or summary, and it can answer questions such as, what does it mean to be a family? Or what are we afraid of?
Hello, readers. Today I want to talk about themes. A theme is an important idea that is woven throughout a story. It's not the plot or the summary, but something a little deeper. A theme links a big idea about our world with the action of a text. Sometimes a theme answers a question the story is trying to explore, like, what does it mean to be a family? Or, what are we afraid of? Themes will be statements that answer these questions, like, you don't have to be related to someone for them to be your family. Or, we are afraid of losing our individuality. Now, theme is different from the main idea of a story or its summary. The main idea is what the story is all about, and the summary is the events of the story. It's the plot, it's what happened. But the theme is a lesson, or a message that you can take out of the story and apply to your own life. Themes are universal, that is to say, anyone can relate to them. So if I tell you a story about how I got food poisoning the one time I ate a sketchy roadside hot dog instead of packing my own lunch, the theme isn't avoid Sticky Pete's hot dogs on Route 91. The theme is it pays to be prepared, because not everyone has a Sticky Pete's, but everyone can be prepared. Ugh, why did I eat it? Why is it green? A theme is similar to a moral, but a moral is more about a specific lesson it's trying to teach you. A theme could be a lesson, but it doesn't have to be. Sometimes you can discover the theme by asking yourself some big questions. What did the characters learn? How did they grow and change? Why did characters act the way they acted? What's different at the end of the story? And what stays with you after the story is over? Let's go through a folktale and see if answering these questions helps us to uncover the theme. This is a story about Anansi the spider, a heroic trickster from West Africa. Anansi was clever, but he wished to be wise. Wiser than everyone, in fact. He decided that he'd take all the wisdom he could find, all the wisdom in the whole world, and gather it all inside a little clay pot. But he didn't like having it in the house, this pot of knowledge. What if our kid knocks it over? He asked his wife, Aso. What if someone comes over in the night and steals it? Who's coming to steal your pot, Anansi? She asked. Nobody even knows you have it. It's not safe, Anansi cried, and he decided to hide it. I'm going out, he said. Don't follow me. Whatever, said Aso, who went back to doing something that was actually useful. Anansi wandered through the forest, lugging this enormous clay pot of wisdom, never aware that his little son, Ntikuma, was following close behind. Not tall enough, said Anansi, looking at a cliff. Not deep enough, he said, frowning at a canyon. Aha, said Anansi, when he came to the prickly thorn tree at the edge of the forest, near a little stream. Now this will do just fine. Anansi had many legs, and he was very strong, but even he could not climb the tree and carry the pot of knowledge at the same time. He scrabbled up the tree, then slid back down again. He wiggled up the tree, then slid back down again. He clambered up the tree. Hey, Dad, Anansi's son called out. What? What? I said nobody follow me. What are you doing here? Anansi cried. You should tie the pot to your back, Dad. Then you can use all your legs to climb the tree. He was right, but it didn't matter to Anansi. I'll teach you to give me advice, you little miscreant, Anansi yelled, shaking his fist. The same fist that held the handle to the pot full of wisdom. It went sailing into the air as time seemed to slow down. Oh no, said Anansi. Oh no, said Anansi's little son. And the pot smashed open there in the stream, carrying all of Anansi's carefully gathered up knowledge into the ocean, sending it out to the whole world once again. You are in so much trouble, Ntikuma, Anansi said, clambering back down the tree. And then he said, ow, 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 because in his haste he had poked himself on the thorns of the tree. His son took off running for home, and Anansi raced after him. And as they ran, it began to rain. And as the rain came down, Anansi stopped running and began to walk and think. Ntikuma's plan would have worked after all. When he at last caught up with Ntikuma, he apologized for losing his temper. What was the use of all that wisdom if I can still be outsmarted by my little son, he said. The two of them embraced. And because of Ntikuma's timely interruption, a little bit of Anansi's knowledge lives in us all today. So, our questions checklist. What did the characters learn? Well, Anansi learned that even if he had all the wisdom in the world, a child could still have a better idea than him. How did the characters grow and change? Anansi apologized for losing his temper and realized that he wasn't the only person with good ideas. Why did characters act the way they acted? I think Anansi was greedy. Why else would he want to have all the wisdom in the world and not share it with anybody else? And what's different at the end of the story? At the end of the story, everybody gets a little bit from the pot of wisdom. It flows out into the ocean and gets sent to everybody. And Anansi realized that keeping all the wisdom to himself still didn't make him the wisest all the time. Finally, what stays with you after the story is over? The fact that all of us, you, me, your Aunt Matilda, all of us have a little bit of Anansi's wisdom inside of us. So a theme of this story could be, anyone can have a good idea, or wisdom is inside all of us. What theme would you give this story? Discuss it with your friends, your classmates, your family, and let us know. The theme of all of my videos is and shall forever be that you can learn anything. David out.
Oh, love it. What's the story? Oh, I watched this one.
Hello, readers. I'm going to draw you a map right now.
I watched this one. Why does this not... Okay.
Hello, readers. You know what's better than reading a book? Reading 2 books. Reading a bunch of books. Reading a mountain of books. This may sound self-evident, but great readers read a lot of books. Good readers read widely. They read lots of different types of books. Sometimes these books will be similar, and sometimes they'll be very different. But one thing that good readers do is think about how what they are reading might connect with other books they've read in the past. They think about how books connect with other books. I have been reading a lot this year, mostly cookbooks, mysteries, and
Hi, Tito Amado.
science fiction novels, so they're alike in some ways and different in others. Right now I'm reading these mystery novels that take place in Australia. They're all written by the same person, and they all feature the same main characters. A collection of books that are about the same character in different situations is called a series. Reading a series is a great way to see how the same characters grow and change over a longer period of time. There's the hero of the series, with a fabulous feather in her hair and a magnifying glass, ready to solve some mysteries. Now, not all books by the same author are automatically part of the same series. Authors can write standalone books or start completely different series. Here's the author, hard at work on a typewriter, an ancient writing device. If you don't know what that is, politely ask an older person. Often, writers have a similar writing style even when what they're writing is not connected. For example, if you like funny books, and you find an author that makes you laugh, chances are that the other books they write could also be funny. Books can have similar plots, so the series I've been reading is a mystery. The main character is a detective, and she figures out how and why someone committed a crime. After many years of reading, I've learned that I really like books that share this quality, of a hero that solves mysteries. But just because two books are both mysteries doesn't mean they're going to work the same way. Two mysteries by two different writers with different characters and situations are going to be pretty different from each other. As a reader, I have to be careful not to assume that I know where a book is going to go just because I'm familiar with what kind of story it's telling. It's like fairy tales, right? Every culture around the world has traditional stories, and those stories all pretty much have the same purpose, which is to teach people how to behave like a good person. There are stories all around the world that have a similar structure to the story of Cinderella. Young, poor girl with an evil stepmother, unfairly punished, and then, through magic and the goodness of her own heart, she marries into royalty. There are thousands of versions of this story from every culture on Earth. I love reading stories from all over the world because it helps me understand the values that different cultures share, or how they differ. This is why it's fun to read lots of stories from different times and different people. It can help us understand what's important to people, what was important to people in the past, or what's important to us now. And it's fun. Reading lots of books is fun. You might find an author or a character that you love. You might be transported to a whole new land or time. Reading widely and thinking about how books connect is the best way to become a better reader. And you might just solve a mystery or two while you're at it. You can learn anything. David out.
You know what's better than reading a book? Reading two books. Let's talk about how books and stories relate to one another, how book series work, and what you can learn from comparing stories from around the world. Alright, exercise time. Alright, let's go. Read the passage and answer the practice question. Feels like, Okay. Feels like home. Luciana stared through the glass, the blur of trees and sky passing by the window, marking the spaces between the bus stops. Excuse me. She yawned, her heavy eyelids drooping. She'd been in her new home for 2 weeks now, but she had a hard time sleeping. She missed her old home. I know what you need, Abuela had said when Luciana had confided in her a few days ago. Come with me. Abuela had walked into the kitchen and pulled a cookie sheet from the cabinet. Luciana thought maybe Abuela was going to cook one of her favorite meals to comfort her. But Abuela had opened the kitchen door and walked outside, carrying the cookie sheet in her hand. Luciana had followed her into the yard. Abuela had handed her a small shovel and picked a trowel herself. Dig here, she'd said. Luciana was confused, but did as she'd been told. Abuela? She begun. This is weird. Shouldn't this be in a new line? Anyways. But Abuela had shushed her and pointed at the small pile of dirt. She said, "Shut, Joe." Luciana dug a bit more until the sandy soil gave way to cool red clay. Abuela wet the pile of earth with a nearby water hose before mixing the clay and sandy soil with her hands. "Help me mix," she said, taking Luciana's hands and pushing them into the mixture. She laughed at Luciana's face, her nose scrunched up, her eyes furrowed in confusion. "Now here," she'd said, pointing to the cookie sheet. She'd watched as Luciana placed handfuls of mud into the tray and run her hand along the top of the sheet to smooth it before using her trowel to cut through the wet mud. "Abuela, I don't understand," Luciana had said. "How is the mud on a tray going to help me? Be patient, Abuela had replied. You will see. The bus lurched to a stop, bringing Luciana's mind back to the present. She stood and made her way off the bus and down the narrow path to her home. She smiled when she spotted Abuela waiting for her. I have a surprise for you, Abuela said as Luciana approached. Come with me. Luciana approached Abuela onto the porch, where she spotted the metal tray. Only the mud wasn't mud anymore. A few days baking in the sunlight had hardened it to stone. Is it? Luciana's voice trailed off as she stepped closer to the tray. She pressed her hand against the smooth surface. Tears brimmed in her eyes as she turned and looked at Abuela. It's adobe, isn't it? She said. Just like the walls of our old house in Mexico. Abuela smiled and nodded. I miss our old home too, she whispered. But home is always with us, Lucy. You, me, mommy, papi, we are what make a home. That night, Luciana pulled the covers up under her chin and closed her eyes. She reached down and placed her hand on the cold, smooth piece of stone she'd placed on her nightstand and smiled. This looks like exactly like the home she had in Mexico. Practice question. How does paragraph 14 build on paragraph 8? Is it just like the walls of Mexico? Paragraph 8. But how's mud tray going to help me? Okay. It shows why different types of soils are used to make mud. Nope. It shows why stone is the best choice for building a home. Nope. It shows the steps they took to mix the mud for the adobe stone. It shows how mud they mix helped Luciana's homesickness. Yep, there we go. Okay, let's see. Next question. What sentence describes a lesson from both stories? Grandmothers often have smart advice. New things can be exciting. Strong homes are made with bricks. Love makes a place feel like home. Yeah, it could be this. Wait, this is a new home. Okay. Yeah, knew it. Next question. How is the central message conveyed in the story? Choose one answer. Luciana tells Abuela that she misses her home, so Abuela shows her how not to worry so much. Abuela shows Luciana how to mix mud so she can make bricks for a house. No. Luciana and Abuela talk about how important a strong house is while they work on a craft project. Doesn't really happen. Abuela helps Luciana make an adobe stone to show her that a building isn't what makes a home. This and first one. Yeah, okay. Next question. Alright, let's see. Select whether each detail is from a new home, feels like home, or both. Luciana feels uneasy, both. Presses mud, feels like a new home. Rides a bus, both. It has to be proper again. This one. Oops. God damn it. Okay, Luciana feels uneasy. How did she feel in this one? Okay. What the fuck? This? Hold on. A new home. Yeah. Feels uneasy. A new home. Presses mud onto a tray. Feels like home. Yes. Luciana rides a bus. Yeah, both. Bus starts just separating Lucy's mind to present. Oh, oops. God damn it. Presses mud onto a tray. What? Where's the hint? Oh, what the fuck? Wow, okay. I get part A. How does the ending of the story change Luciana's feeling about her new home? She decides whether she hopes that one day she realizes that home is not the people. Yep. She pressed her hand against smooth. I miss her old home too. You make me puppy. We are what make a home. That one. Got it. Yep. There you go. Unit 3. Well, what was the answer to that last question? Oh, shoot. Extreme environments unit. Your environment means everything around you. The weather, the landscapes, the type of plants and animals that live there, all part of your environment. Some places on Earth have extreme environments. Places that are incredibly hot or cold, or have intense storms. These extremes can affect life dramatically. In this unit, you will learn about extreme environments, read stories that take place in those environments, learn about how living somewhere with extreme weather affects how people live by watching videos help you understand what good readers and writers do, reading and answering questions about literary and informational texts, learning new academic words. In order to answer the essential question, how does climate affect life? Oh, they just got ratioed. They just got ratioed. Oh, I'm bad. Anyways. Take some time to get to know them all before we get started. Climate is the weather. Okay, climate environment. Climate is the weather in a place or area. A place's environment means everything that's there, including nature and the weather. Sample sentences. Polar bears are masters of their Arctic environment. They have thick fur to stay warm in the cold climate, and strong legs and jaws for hunting on the ice and in the sea. Continent, region. A continent is a huge area of land, usually containing lots of different countries. A region is an area. It can describe one part of a country, one part of a continent, or one part of the world. Sample sentences. The Arctic region is the area around the North Pole. It contains parts of 3 different continents: Asia, Europe, and North America. Evaporate, moisture, precipitation. These words have one thing in common: water. Precipitation is any kind of water that falls from clouds, including rain, snow, and hail. Moisture means a small amount of water that makes something feel wet. Evaporate means to turn into gas or vapor. Water evaporates when it gets hot. Sample sentences. This morning, the grass in my yard has a lot of moisture from last night's precipitation. By lunchtime, the grass had dried out. The heat of the sun made all the rain evaporate. Extreme, frigid, harsh, inhospitable, intense, severe, temperate. These are all great words to help describe weather or climates. Extreme and intense are very close in meaning. They both mean very large, great, or strong. Severe means something very great or strong, but in a bad way. Harsh is another negative word. It means tough, very tough or cruel. If a place is inhospitable, it means it's very hard for animals, people, or plants to live there. Frigid means really, really cold. Temperate is the odd one out in this group. It means weather that's medium or mild, not too hot and not too cold. The opposite of extreme. Here are some sample example sentences showing these words in action. We've got some extreme weather coming our way. A thunderstorm and lots of rain. The severe daytime heat and the weather is very dangerous, but at night the cold can be just as intense. True. Facts. Emperor penguins live in very harsh conditions. They have to huddle together as a big group to stay alive during snowstorms. Zindine loved the beauty of the Arctic, but found that the frigid temperatures made it too inhospitable to stay for a long time. It was going to be a big relief to get back to the temperate weather in France. Adapt to and inhabit. Adapting means changing to fit something, or getting used to something. Inhabit and dwell both mean to live somewhere. Example sentence. Not many animals inhabit the desert, but those who do have adapted very well. For example, desert-dwelling camels can survive 7 months without water. Tilt and tilted. Tilt is both a noun and a verb. If something tilts or has a tilt, it means it's leaning to one side. If something leans or is slanted, you can say it's tilted. Example sentences. Did you know that Earth is tilted? It leans to one side as it goes around the sun. The Earth's tilt means that South America is closest to the sun in December and furthest away from the sun in June. The opposite is true for North America. That's why in June it's summer in Canada, but also winter in Brazil. Nice. Listen to summarizing information. Oh, I watched all these. Okay, skip to the practice questions. Let's go. Okay, read the passage and answer the practice questions. Extreme weather around the world. Have you ever heard someone complain about the weather? It's always either too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry, and so on. It seems that we only get a few days a year when the weather is just right. But really, all of these complaints seem silly when thinking about the world's extreme climates. It's a map of the world. Oh, let's see. Extremely hot. Is the harsh, scorching heat making your sandals sweaty? Well, in Dalal, Ethiopia, your shoes could melt if you stand still for a few minutes. Dalal is officially the hottest inhabited place on Earth. It's part of a desert region that is below sea level. In addition, Dalal sits on top of a volcano. The intense heat evaporates most of the water that flows into the area, leaving large salt slabs behind. The Afar people of Dalal harvest the salt to sell at local markets. Dang. Look at all that salt. That's cool. That looks cool. I like that contrast in color. Okay. Extremely cold. You don't know cold unless you've been to Oymyakon, Russia. This village is located to the far north in an area called the Sakha Republic. It has the honor of being one of the coldest places in the world where people live year-round. Yet the word cold barely describes it. Try freeze your eyeballs frigid. I was thinking of another phrase to describe that. Okay. Let's see. Oymyakon's temperatures dip far below freezing. Its dwellers have to wear goggles to protect their eyes from very strong winds and severely cold temperatures. The land is mostly inhospitable to farming crops, so the locals eat mainly meat and canned foods brought in from other towns. Dang, that's really cold. Extremely dry. Make sure to hug your umbrella in the next time you see it. Some of Chile's Atacama Desert in South America haven't seen rain in 400 years. Dang. People get water from crops and for drinking by harvesting clouds instead of depending on precipitation. Excuse me. When the fog rolls in from the Pacific Ocean, they collect moisture with plastic sheets that drip into pans underneath. Oh, that's creative. Extremely wet. Your picnic got rained out? Absorb this. In Mausiram, India, it basically always rains. The jungle village gets enough yearly rain to cover a 3-story building. To cope with the steady rainfall, villages have come up with clever solutions. They use grass to soundproof their roofs from the constant noise of heavy rain. Outdoor workers rely on traditional canups to keep them dry. Woven with bamboo, grasses, and banana leaves, worn over the head and back, these coverings look like turtle shells. No matter what your personal weather peeve is, there's always a way to make the best of it. As the saying goes, there's no such thing as bad weather, only the wrong clothes. People who live in the world's most intense environments realize that you've got to adapt to the climate you've got. Cool. What detail could be left out of a summary of the text? India. It's too detailed. It's easier to appreciate your own climate when comparing it to the places around the world. People who live in the world's extreme climates have found creative ways to adapt. Chile, Russia, Ethiopia, and India are examples of places with intense environments. Yeah, it's definitely the first one. And it is. Which detail from the passage is best supported by picture 3? Picture 3 is dry. Super dry. Or no, yeah. Outdoor workers, no. In addition, Dalal sits on top of a volcano. It doesn't show a volcano. Its dwellers have to wear goggles to protect themselves from very strong winds and severely cold temperatures. No. Some of Chile's Atacama Desert in South America haven't seen rain in 400 years. Why do people in Dalal and Ethiopia sell salt? Housekeeping cultural tradition is using collecting blonde water. It helps when vegetables are so hot that seawater evaporates. Dalal. Okay, how do the ideas in paragraph 4 to get the ideas in paragraph 5? So 4 is dry. 5 is extremely wet, so it's like a compare and contrast. The ideas contrast because it's about the advantages of living in the desert. Paragraphs about the advantages of living in monsoon regions. The ideas contrast because paragraphs 4 not having enough rain. Too much rain, yes. They're not connected. No. It's this one. Yes, and I didn't need a bonus question that time. Okay. Guess I just have one video to watch. I thought I watched this. I don't think I did watch this. Let's watch it.
Hello, readers. Today we're going to talk about mind reading. Ooh! Also known as understanding characters' thoughts and feelings. I'm kind of serious here. One of the things that I think is magical about reading books and stories is that they let you see what characters are thinking and feeling. Sometimes a story takes you inside the mind of a character in a story. Here's what it sounds like when a character tells you the story herself.
It was a rainy, miserable night in the town of Roseville. My coffee cooled rapidly in the evening air. I watched Johnny Flamingo, the Duke of Crime, walk confidently across the parking lot. I hated him. "I'm gonna get you, Johnny," I muttered. "I'm gonna get you for doing all those crimes."
So how does this character feel about Johnny Flamingo? She hates him. How do we know? She told us so. Sometimes it's not a character who tells you what they're thinking or feeling, but instead it's a narrator who knows how those characters feel. And that can sound like this.
Standing on a hill outside her little village, Lana looked to the sky and the dragons that flew through the clouds in lazy circles. "I will learn to ride a dragon," she thought. "I promise."
What does Lana want to learn to do? Ride dragons. Did she tell us? No, not exactly. But the narrator did, by listening to her thoughts. Do you see what I'm saying? It's magical, this ability to read a character's mind in a story. If I had the power to fully hear my friend's thoughts, I don't think we'd ever have any kind of misunderstandings ever again. How a character thinks or feels about something is important evidence that helps explain why they act the way they do. Now, it's possible to have a feeling or a thought but still do something opposite. Like a character could be afraid of heights but still climb a tree to rescue a cat. Or it's possible for a character to feel multiple conflicting emotions or thoughts at the same time. Just like it's possible for you or me to feel embarrassed and proud at the same time, or happy and regretful. Let's take a look at this example.
"It's not so bad," said Zeke, examining it closely when he saw my frown. "It's a bowling pin, right?" I tried to remain calm, but I was totally frustrated. I spent all that time, and Zeke thought my statue was a bowling pin? I gritted my teeth and forced a smile. No, not exactly, but it's not quite done yet." I grabbed the sculpture and headed to my room. I was determined to make Lady Liberty recognizable. I decided to watch a video on how to make realistic faces in clay. It was helpful. Although it took me a while, I finally made some improvements to my work of art.
See how the narrator says they're frustrated, but they don't show it to Zeke. They force themselves to smile and not display their frustration. They're trying to be calm, but inside, they're totally frustrated. So I guess the lesson here is that the magic of mind reading is only part of the story. You have to go by how characters in the story act, too. But we'll talk about that in another video. You can learn anything. David out.
Alright, here we go. And I've watched all of these, so it's time for the practice questions. Let's go. Read the passage, then answer the practice questions. Vicious trip down under. I tossed my knapsack onto the hotel room floor and flopped onto the bed. Ugh, jet lag, I groaned. Can't we skip the tour? For the past year, Dad and I had been bouncing around the world so he could research his book about living in extreme climates. Our latest stop was Coober Pedy, an Australian mining town and one of the hottest places in the world. Lately, I felt kind of meh about traveling. You know why we're here, Fisher, to learn about how people live in their unique environments. You can't do that from a hotel room, Dad said. I pointed to the jagged stone ceiling. Why did I say jet lagged? I pointed to the jagged stone ceiling. Well, I just did. Right on the hotel website, it says the hotel, like most buildings here, is built underground because of the intense desert heat. I said, "Okay, smarty, that's a start." Dad chuckled, but facts are only a gateway to the real story. You have to get out to find the real flavor of a place. We can have fun too. I didn't want to upset Dad, so I went anyways. That afternoon, we toured a kangaroo orphanage. Aww. Then I went inside the dugout where Miss Hastings, the town historian, lived. She showed us a picture of the iridescent opal gemstone that the area is famous for. I couldn't take my eyes off it. That's amazing, I said. She laughed. You're not the only one to think that. Miners from more than 50 countries have come to find their fortunes here over the years. Many stayed for good. Any way they could, they made this place home, she said. Today, Kuber has Chinese and pizza restaurants, olive groves from Greece, and a drive-in movie theater. You'll have a great time here. Thanks so much for the tour, but I think Fisher wants to get back to the room for a bit, Dad said. Dad was wrong, though. I had gooey cheese, glittering gems, and more on my mind. Dad, let's keep going? Okay, you were right, I said with a laugh. This is much better than staying inside. Let's get pizza. As we set off, Miss Hastings called. Make sure to try the emu sausage. We made sure we did, and for the next few days, I tasted as many flavors of Cooper Petey as I possibly could. Let's see. Which sentence best describes Fisher's motivations at the end of Fisher's trip down under? Fisher's fear of the intense heat caused him to stay in this hotel. Which Fisher feels proud about finding an opal. Yo, what's up, Leo? Fisher feels proud about finding an opal and wants to keep exploring the mines. Fisher grows more cautious about trying new foods and only wants pizza. Fisher's experience makes him curious about what Cooper Petey and he wants to see more. Yeah, that's the end. Got it. Next up. Alright, next question. Which statement best summarizes the different themes from Fisher on Top of the World and there's another story. Fisher on Top of the World. Here we go. Before Dad and I traveled to the Andes Mountains in Peru, I barely ever thought about llamas, besides the ones printed on my favorite socks. That all changed after a time in the Tierra Helada, meaning frozen place. Bundled in the heaviest gear, that's like frozen earth, but it could be that mean. It could mean that too. Bundled in the heaviest gear, we arrived in the village we'd be staying in. A severe storm had just blown through. People were scattered around, calling out down the slope in frightened tones. Dad and his translator went to investigate. Fisher, come out and help. A llama got separated from the pack in the blizzard. Poor llama, Dad said when they returned. Uncertain, I followed anyway. It must be so hard to live here, I thought. The ground is so steep and slick. It's amazing everyone didn't fall off the mountain. This was the coldest place I'd ever been to by far, and I didn't even think I'd get warm again. We'd been traveling for months, so Dad could do research for his book, Living to the Extreme. At that moment, I was ready to go back to our very temperate climate in California. I ran to Dad's side nonetheless. He was scanning the area with a set of binoculars. Dad, I feel bad about the llama, but this kind of thing must happen all the time. It's weird that people stay in such a harsh place, I said. People are more adaptable than you think, said Dad. They build their cultures around where and how they live. My dad's an anthropologist. That means he studies humans and how our societies, cultures, and language are similar and different around the world. His words made me think about our mountain journey. People did do a lot to survive. They grew certain crops according to where they lived. They then bartered and sold them up and down the mountain. It's called a vertical trade. Llamas were at the heart of it. Loaded down with bags of potatoes, coffees, or bananas, they were designed for the steep treks. As the wind shifted, I heard a soft bleating grow louder. I peered down to a cluster of rocks as a llama limped into view. I frantically pointed, shouting, "Over here!" Several villagers raced to the llama and carried it as everyone cheered. Already, I was starting to warm up. Okay, I read this one already. Oh, here we go. Which statement best summarizes the different themes of Fisher on the Top of the World and Fisher's trip down under? Okay, in Fisher's on Top of the World, a theme is home is where a person makes it, while Fisher's trip down under theme is the best way to learn about places through first-hand experiences. The latter is good, but the former is not. In Fisher on Top of the World, the theme is home is where heart is. When Fisher's trip down under, his theme is travel starts at home. No. In Fisher's on Top of the World, the theme is courage is a key to success. While in Fisher's trip down under, theme is work and something. What? What is? Who made these distractions? Okay. In Fisher's on Top of the World, a theme is the importance of family traditions. While in Fisher's trip down under, theme is a person can never really go home again. Let's see. think this is it. Yeah. Alright, next question. The following statements describe character points of view at the beginning of the story. Mark whether each statement is Fisher's point of view or Fisher's dad's point of view at the beginning of the story. You have to have real experiences to understand a player's dad. It's more important to understand people's choice about how they live instead of where they live. Choosing a new place, a difficult one, and I can tell you more about it. Yep, I knew that one. Okay, here we go. Oh, next question. Pick 2 details that describe the different settings of Fisher on the top of the world and Fisher's trip down under. Lately, I felt kind of meh about traveling. Right now on the website, it says the hotel building here is pick 2 details that describe the different settings. Okay, that's one. The remote was ready to go. That doesn't describe the setting. Hi, Rosie. What's up? I'm studying. At the moment, I was ready to go back to a very temporary. No. But facts are only a gateway to the real story. You have to get out and find the real flavor place. Not really. The ground is so steep and slick, it's amazing everyone didn't fall off the mountain. Several villagers raced the llama carried up as everyone cheered. Let's see. Different settings. That's one. This definitely describes a setting. To the llama carried it up. That doesn't describe a setting. I got it. Okay, I got it anyways. Cool. Yes, sir. Lesson 4. How many more lessons do I have? Okay, thankfully I watched all of these videos already. So, practice question time. Alright, here we go. Alright. Wait, I just want to check real quick. How many more do I have to... I think... Is this the last one? Extreme environments. The Arctic Circle. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Oh, and I watched all the videos for these, so that's good. I don't have to... Okay. Okay, I read this one already. Okay, I read this passage already. Read this excerpt from paragraph 3. The land is mostly inhospitable to farming crops, so locals eat mainly meats and canned foods brought in from other towns. Match each word with the description of how it helps you understand the word inhospitable. In means not. Shows the word as an adjective. Favorable in living in. Yeah, that was pretty easy. Next question. Read this sentence from paragraph 5. Absorb this. In Mausaram, India, it basically always rains. Why do you think the author used the phrase absorb this in the sentence? Because it's like hard to believe. Compare sponges and umbrellas. What? No. Highlight the differences between dry and rainy climates. A way to introduce a topic in a serious manner. A playful way to let the reader know that they'll be learning about heavy rainfall. C or D as a way to introduce a topic. I'm changing in a serious manner. It's not really serious. I think this is it. Yep. Next question. All right. Read the sentence from paragraph 2. It's a part of the desert region that is it's part of a desert region that is below sea level. Read the dictionary entry. Region, an area of activity or interest. An area surrounding a specific body part. An area of the world that shares similar features. An area that has no boundaries. Which dictionary definition best matches the use of the word region in the passage? Not this one. An area that has no boundaries. Not this one. An area of the world that shares similar features. Okay, that one. Next question. Oh, I wish I could go back. Dang. I could highlight. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. That's cool. Okay, next question. Read the sentence from paragraph 6. No matter what your personal weather peeve is, there's always a way to make the best of it. Complete the sentence by choosing the correct answer from the drop-down menu. Based on the sentence, a peeve is something that you like. Oh, no. Ooh, got the ripple badge. Yes, sir. Oh, come on. Clip that. Clip that. Ooh. Got the ripple badge. Oh, shoot. Ah, dang, it went away. Anyways. Cool. I got like 2 more lessons now. I want to see my badge. Hold on. Let's see. Where's my badges? Explore. I'll have to clip that. Progress. Proficient. Cool. Ooh. Getting level 100. Oh, that's interesting. Here we go. Ripple badge. Nice. Let me screenshot this. Actually, can I save this? As badge. Cool. Alright, let's go. Level 10. Made it. Alright, here we go. Read the passage to answer 2 practice questions. This text from the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, provides important information about Antarctica, an extremely cold region on Earth. What is Antarctica by NASA? Look at that penguin. Oh, look at that penguin. Antarctica is a continent. It is Earth's 5th largest continent. Antarctica is covered in ice. Antarctica covers Earth's south pole. What is... Oh, shoot. My thing is off-centered. There we go. Cool. Antarctica is the coldest place on Earth. The temperature in the winter is cold enough to freeze water all the time. The temperature in the middle of Antarctica is much colder than the temperature on the coasts. Antarctica has 2 seasons, summer and winter. Excuse me. Earth is tilted in space, and the direction of tilt never changes. During summer, Antarctica is on the side of Earth tilted toward the sun. It is always sunny. In winter, Antarctica is on the side of Earth away from the sun. Then, the continent is always dark. Antarctica is a desert. It does not rain or snow a lot there. When it snows, the snow does not melt and builds up over many years to make large, thick sheets of ice, called ice sheets. Antarctica is made of lots of ice in the form of glaciers, ice shelves, and icebergs. Antarctica has no trees or bushes. The only plants that can live in a place that cold are moss and algae. Who lives in Antarctica? Antarctica is too cold for people to live there for a long time. Scientists take turns going there to study the ice. Tourists visit Antarctica in the summers. The oceans around Antarctica are home to many types of whales. Antarctica is also home to seals and penguins. You know what's interesting about Antarctica? I learned that they have their own accent there. And I'd be interested in learning what the Antarctican accent sounds like. Okay, practice questions. This question has 2 parts. Answer part A, then part B. Read the sentence from the Introduction to the passage. This text from NASA provides important information about Antarctica, an extremely cold region on Earth. What is the meaning of the word region? Area. Which of these words is closest to the meaning of the word region? Place. Booyah. Next question. Pick 2 details from the text from the passage that support the main idea that Antarctica has an inhospitable climate. No, having summer and winter wouldn't matter. The temperature of winter is cold enough to freeze water all the time. That could be. Antarctica is too cold for people to live there for a long time. Scientists take turns going there to study the ice. Doesn't matter. They study ice everywhere, and it is Earth's 5th largest continent. So people could live in continents everywhere. Shit. Oh my god. Freaking stream went down on Instagram again. Okay, I'm just gonna finish this shit on YouTube. So I'm guessing like an hour is the limit to a live stream on Instagram. So alright, let's speed through this because which best states why the author wrote the passage. To compare Antarctica with other dry places, well, it doesn't talk about other dry places. To compare Antarctica's ocean animals with other ocean animals, it doesn't really talk about the animals. To give detailed information about animals that live in Antarctica and about animals that live on Antarctica, not really. To give us facts of the continent of Antarctica. Yeah. Next question. According to the passage, what causes ice sheets to form on Antarctica? The snow. Since snow doesn't melt, it builds up over time, makes snow sheets. Large sheets is flat in the snow and it turns to ice. Volcanoes under the surface form the snow, which causes ice sheets to form. No, definitely not that. Months of freezing make layers of ice. It's this one. Okay. Alright, here we go. Thankfully I read those already. The Arctic Circle. Here we go. Read the passage and answer the 2 practice questions. The Arctic Circle. Where in the world? Dang, look at that big Arctic Circle. You know, it's very seldom that I actually see maps like this from like the top. And what people say is that this is actually the bottom of the world, but because of like colonialism, the world's like flipped upside down so that you could see the bottom of the world at the top, because like I guess white people did not want to be seen on the bottom, so they put themselves on the top of the world. But this is actually the bottom of the world, which is really interesting. Okay, think about the globe. Think about a globe. At the top, you'll find the Arctic Circle. This imaginary line around the Earth is very far north. It includes parts of these countries and territories: Canada, Finland, Greenland, Iceland, Norway, Russia, Sweden, USA, in particular, Alaska. In the winter, the sun doesn't rise in parts of the Arctic Circle. This means there can be up to 24 hours of darkness. But in the summer, the opposite happens. The midnight sun rises and shines for 24 hours a day. Imagine that. Living in the Arctic Circle. What's it like to live in the Arctic Circle? Well, many people find this extreme climate inhospitable. After all, the winters are long and very cold. Winter temperatures stay well below freezing all season long. The wind chill is so cold that it could freeze your skin in seconds. Blinding storms can make travel very difficult. People can and do live here, though. In fact, people have made the Arctic home for thousands of years. And today, there are many thriving communities that probably don't seem too different from your own. Well, apart from the weather, maybe. There are communities with shopping, movie theaters, schools, and more. Ooh. Tromsø is a thriving city in Norway inside the Arctic Circle. Yeah, I think the world's northernmost McDonald's is in Tromsø. Sørapaluk, Greenland, is a smaller community in the Arctic Circle. Animals of the Arctic Circle. Many different animals make their homes in the Arctic. Unlike Antarctica, which is home to very few land animals, there are many that live in the Arctic. Polar bears, reindeer, rabbits, musk oxen, foxes, and other animals make their home in the Arctic Circle. These animals are well adapted to their environment. Many have thick fur or hair and feet that are good for walking on snow. The Arctic waters are also filled with life. Whales, seals, sharks, and many other kinds of marine creatures live in these icy northern seas. The good work. Thanks, Cafepedia. Just saw that. Okay. Chatbox. Live chat. Keep up the work. Thank you. Okay. The Arctic waters are also filled with life. Alright, this question has two parts. Answer part A, then part B. Read the sentence from the passage. Well, many people find this extreme climate inhospitable. What is the meaning of the word extreme as it's used in the sentence? Harsh. Which of these words is closest to the meaning of extreme as it's used in the sentence? Severe. Yeah, got it. Booyah. Okay, next one. Okay, that one. Did I read this penguin one? By NASA. Algae. Okay, here we go. I read these both. That's cool. Okay. So, oh my god, it's still not connected to Instagram. All right. Pick two of the ways in the passages are pick two ways the ideas in the passages are similar. They both define the term midnight sun. They both provide information about scientific studies. They both provide information about sea animals. They provide details about weather conditions. They both give details about land animals. Oh shit. Man, whatever. Which two features does the author use in the passage? Captions? Yes. A list. Glossary. Headings, headings, yes, headings. Pick two details from the passage that support the main idea. Even though the Arctic has an extreme climate, living things can survive. Many animals make their home in the Arctic. In the winter, the sun doesn't rise in parts of the Arctic Circle. The wind chill is so cold that it can freeze your skin in seconds. In fact, people have made the Arctic home for thousands of years. Yeah, that's it. Okay, bonus question. Okay, bonus question. This question has two parts. Answer part A, then part B. Part A. Read the sentence from the passage. Well, many people find this extreme climate inhospitable. What is the meaning of the word inhospitable? possible to live in. Which sentence from the passage best helps the understanding of the meaning of inhospitable? The wind chill is so cold that it could freeze your skin in seconds. The communities no infect people. No, this one. Got it. Show some. All right. I did it. Finished 3rd grade. Woo! I need a soundboard or something. I like Kai Cenat's soundboard the most, actually. So, yeah, that'd be really cool to have. All right, so, just finished 3rd grade. Yeah, I had a string mishap. I had no idea that Instagram would cut out like that after about an hour, but it's all good. But yeah, that was 3rd grade. Maybe I'll move on to 4th grade tomorrow, but yeah, I kind of want to. It's really refreshing to see what people are learning nowadays. I remember reading yesterday that Khan Academy works with lots of schools and teachers and students to understand what curriculum is taught. So it's really cool to know that I guess this is up to date. This is what people are learning, and you know, it's really it's good information. I'm glad that a lot of the material is easy to digest. And I love it when there's reasons added to why an answer is wrong or why an answer is right. So yeah, overall it's a great platform. There are some like UI things I'm a little picky about, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, Khan Academy 3rd grade, just passed it. Maybe I'll split this into like part 3 and then part 3.5 because of the cut. But yeah, been streaming for like almost 3 hours now. So yeah, that was an interesting 3rd grade, very informative, and I'm glad that it was super easy. I don't want to say I'm smarter than a 3rd grader, but hey, I passed. I only got a couple of them wrong, so that was really cool. But yeah, that's 3rd grade. Looking forward to 4th grade next time. If you watch this, thanks for joining the stream. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching this playback.